TwitchCon, guys. So if you are going, please make sure to say hi. You can always message me on Discord and be like, hey, I'd love to say hi. I'm going to be at blank blank at blank time. That's totally fine, as long as you don't show up with, you know, like ropes and a ski mask. And if you're not going, well then, oh well. But I will not be streaming tomorrow, and I will not be streaming Monday either, since, you know, I come in so late because of time zone thingies. You know, I leave at 12 and arrive at 8 in a 5-hour flight. Pfft, time zones are silly. So just a heads up to anyone. But it is September, while I'm on the subject of TwitchCon, Twitch in September. You're on Twitch, all that good stuff. And it is half off for those tier 1 subs. If you've never subbed before, if you haven't subbed in a while, I'm just throwing it out there. It'd be very much so appreciated, but not necessary. Just make sure to take advantage of it if you have any other streamers that you've always wanted to, but didn't quite have those $5. All right, in the bottom right, as the blue Terran, it is Bunny. In the top left, as the red Zerg, it is Ragnarok. September over now? I was pretty sure it wasn't. But I could be wrong. By the time this is up on YouTube, of course it'll be over. To end September, 4 days before the end, and also before TwitchCon actually starts, that would have been surprising to me. But it's easily tested. It ends on the 26th. It's 26th today. Why wouldn't it go with blah, 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 blah. Well, I guess I'm a big old liar then. You know what, guys? You should test it, though. Yeah. Ew, well. So many people are not going to TwitchCon, and that was really surprising to me. I mean, I didn't go to TwitchCon last year, but I'm also not like a Twitch streamer.
Thank you.
Like, you know, there's like a Twitch culture, and there's like StarCraft Twitch streaming, and there's a Twitch streaming, you know what I mean? Oh, thank you, Create a Beast, for the Twitch Prime sub. For 10 months, thank you. But anyways, but like everyone I follow who does like, you know, variety streaming, I suppose, or like other primary games, but is not really in esports, I really thought like they were all going to go, because they've gone for like the past like 4 or 5 years. However long TwitchCon has been a thing. And a ton of people this year decided not to go. It's just a bummer because like I'm actually going, unlike last year, and they're not going to go. Oh well. I am, you know, as many of you may have noticed, I'm not exactly like putting a lot of work into going to TwitchCon. I'm not even going on Thursday. I'm actually arriving Friday and missing out on about half of the first day. Trying to cut corners when possible, right? But for some people, TwitchCon is like the thing. They're all dodging you? Yeah. No. I have to do something really bad for someone to be like, I'm not gonna go do this business thing. 2 streamers I know how to cancel after in real life threats. Oh shit. Oh, I didn't even think about that. I hope that's not the reason people have not gone that I follow, but it could be. Oof. And weird people. Alright, what's happening in this game? Not too much. We have that Overlord speed pretty quick here. A lot of Zergs are doing that. It's a bit cheaper, and just that little bit of being cheaper is very important, because it's not just the minerals are cheaper, the gas is also cheaper, and if the gas is cheaper, you can take your drones out of gas or put them in gas later or whatever to get even more mineral mining. It's a very effective 25-25 taken out of the upgrade, so we see a lot of it. And kind of in combination with the threat of battle cruisers that was plaguing the ladder for a while, it makes a lot of sense that a lot of Zergs are doing this almost every game. Delays your speed a little bit, but that didn't affect this game. So Ragnarok is now just dealing with Hellions being slightly annoying, trying to get his creep spread up. Got a 4-minute lair here, so his Baneling speed will be very well timed. And he's continuing to get scouting. I mean, double Overlord scouting with Overlord speed. I mean, you're not gonna miss anything. What Bunny is doing though is very standard. Bio, double engineering bay. Eventually 2 more barracks will be added on here. He does have a little bit of harassment. Got this Liberator doing some damage. Shouldn't kill a queen. Actually, we'll kill a queen. So close. Almost ran out of transfuses. And the Hellions have been surprisingly aggressive, but finally now we have those Lings going for the wraparound, taking out those Hellions, and also taking them out of the equation of any follow-up attack where they could maybe be Hellbats. 1-1 has only recently started though, so they would have waited till after the first double medevac drop. But that's kind of what you usually do anyways. You go for double medevac drop, you get 2 tanks, not just 1, and then you push. And you also should have an armory finishing around that time. Which, you know, we're watching professional gamers here, and nothing has really happened, so Bunny should have all those pristine timings. Ragnarok might have really well-timed centrifugal hooks, but he does have later 1-1. Have a trade-off right there. Sometimes one is better than the other. Sometimes you don't need centrifugal hooks to be kind of the fastest it really is. You don't get much faster than 4-minute layers, and he pretty much started it as fast as he could when the layer was done. And sometimes you really wish you had it. So you can sometimes read into, especially if you have such consistent Overlord scouting, what timing they're looking for. You know, engineering base first or barracks first. Are they using their factory to build reactors or immediately go into tanks? Like, those can tell you somewhat, you know, what timings they're hitting. But not always. I mean, this surprises me. He didn't wait for that second tank. He's not even getting a second tank? Not at all. And he brought this with a medevac drop. So this is hitting faster with that tank than I expected and what Ragnarok expected. But because he has kind of quick baneling speed, he loses a couple here and there. I'm a bit surprised this is happening, and also the creep spread not very good on this side because of that Hellion harassment earlier, but he does have baneling speed with enough Lings at this moment in time to clean this up. It's not really that big of an army, but a couple of good tank shots taking out those expensive banelings, and then the Marines off of creep means that Bunny can just stay here and just be like blow raspberries at Ragnarok, like, you can't catch me. And then, of course, be bulking up back at home, waiting for more units and that combat shield, and also doing a second drop in the main base, which is not being paid attention to. That's odd. He stimmed and then maybe looked away or something like that. I don't know, but oh my god, I didn't even realize baneling drops from Ragnarok, killing that natural mineral line pretty good here, but the drop also over to the right side I think took on more Lings than it should have. Everything going on right now. This drop might have lost about half of the army and then some, actually. It's still going on. Same for this drop. It lost most of its army that was over here, but it's still alive and doing just enough damage. 6 Marines with their upgrades and medevacs are quite bothersome. Queens can't take that on, and if the kiting is good, then Lings also struggle to take that on. He even takes out the Spore Crawler here, so he can continue beep-bopping around the bases. Bunny just everywhere with his reinforcements now coming forward. He has, again, swapped away from those tanks and into Widow Mines, but not even that many. It's been all about this Marine pressure, but it's going pretty well. The Marine, actually, the Widow Mine is quite useless, but all the baneling snipes are pretty good. I think like 4 or 5 went down there. Finally, the drop in the main goes down with the help of a Spine Crawler and a Mineral Line. When did that happen? Why did that happen? That's very weird. But it did help, and the Queens are now going back to their duties on the right side. But man, this creep spread on the right side is quite poor. That could be a huge issue. I mean, it's already been an issue. It has already been an issue, but I'm talking about when there's like a main fight, so it's going to be huge. But oof, gosh, now finally getting some revenge. Ragnarok going for a Ling run by. Banelings wasting themselves on some SCVs. Lings do have 1-1 against 1-1, so they can take on a couple of Marines at a time, especially without those medevacs. And they are doing a decent job here, but finally enough to clean things up. And the medevac keep up from the natural to the third, and then an attack of the 4th base too. Everyone is everywhere, and I'm running out of breath here. Widow Mines even now being included with those drilling claws means that things are going to get heated very quickly. There could be a huge explosion. 20 Lings gone, 20 Banelings gone, and suddenly Bunny just has enough army to actually push for the win. Hasn't quite happened yet here, but the Widow Mines are that constant threat with each and every one of these drops. Finally, everything is cleaned up here. The medevacs do survive, but only 2 of them. I believe he has lost more in the process of dropping. Okay, 4, not too bad, but oof. 4th base is on the way. More barracks have finally finished. This one, although not finished here. He's gonna go for tech labs. I was wondering, like, he was so heavy on Marines. I actually started to wonder, would he do the typical add Tech Labs thing, and he will. He does want that third barracks, but he's got so much going on right now that he's not going to think about grabbing it quite yet. SCV's doing a surprisingly good job against those Lings. Baneling's not quite going to be able to finish for the attack. Oh, those SCVs might die. Those SCVs will die. You're the sacrificed ones. And not too bad. This drop going from the right side where it cleaned up creep to the left side of creep, even more creep, does get hit by a couple of those Banelings, and now they're rolling over to the right side. Another drop, and that's actually going to go for the hatchery. Is it going to be able to grab it? Oh my god, barely doesn't grab it. He goes for the pickup instead, which is probably the wiser move. Baneling's very good at taking out things quickly, and oh my good god, 24 health left over, and he also took one Marine for one Baneling, an excellent trade, and again, the medevacs are going to be able to survive. Bunny, which is non-stop action. Ragnarok trying to keep up, not just with the ground army, but also with trying to get his tech back up as well. Medevacs do not survive, my bad. Queens come forward to take care of things. I don't know what this Marauder was thinking at all, but Ragnarok has an attack to the south side, and the 4th CC is not quite a planetary, so that's going to be very effective. He's going to buy maybe some time for Hive, but he's got a huge attack in the middle of the map with no creep spread really to support this, so he's going to send everything forward. A couple Wood of Mines not really getting the best shots, and those Banelings were just barely enough potentially, but here comes more reinforcements, and Ragnarok, how is he keeping up with the injects at this point? He does have 4 bases with a macro hatchery, but oof, kudos to his macro. He also has, again, barely enough Banelings to help clean things up here. Wood of Mine still not getting the most powerful shots possible, but they are certainly helping to anchor in what is now that main push. Finally, more about one push than it is about all those drops, but good god, Bunny was everywhere at once for a second, and Ragnarok was doing a great job keeping up and also initiating his own run-bys, which he once again is doing. Now, Ragnarok has that Hive done, but not yet starting the Ultralis Cavern. I believe his gas has been severely interrupted from all these run-bys, so he can't actually afford to do that, as well as get a bunch of Banelings. Wood of Mine's not very effective. He wanted him to splash on top of the bio army, and it did actually a little bit. SCVs are going to go down, but Bunny still has 4 bases, so do the SCVs even matter? Ragnarok down to 40 armor supply against 80 here. Queens finally gonna go down too. These girls have been troopers. They have done so much, and they're finally dead. And look at that supply. At the end of that game, with all of that action, look at that supply. It's still damn close, but it's because those workers died. But Bunny still had enough mules cranking to get an army. Good god, that really tested me. That really did. Whew. On to game number 2. Bunny with a lot of drop action there. I mean, it's so easy to, you know, just focus on the drops happening, but really I would take a second and just kudos again to Ragnarok's not just ability to defend. You know, he wasn't perfect. He could have maybe split his queens or had them better positioned, and then also have that creep spread actually started. I think that was a huge issue that kind of started the steamroll a little bit, was not getting any creep spread on that right side. But it was still damn good, and even with using almost all of his queens, he made sure to still be injecting with 4 of them to be able even to afford the larva to get as many lings as he did, because that is so tough to do, guys. If you play Zerg, you already know that. If you don't play Zerg, there's a lot of times where there's too much action going on that even with stacked injects, which became a thing a while ago at this point, it's very easy to stop injecting, or to just simply lose queens and forget to replace them, or lose queens, immediately replace them, and still miss an inject, which when you're sacrificing tons and tons of lings at a time means that you just don't have enough. It's scary, and Ragnarok keeping up for the most part was damn impressive. Well, this guy does seem to be maybe the next great Zerg. So maybe that's what I should be expecting. Let's see. SCV Scout, actually. World of Sleeper is one of the, again, the middle maps as far as rush distance goes. Bunny does not want to be hit by any early shenanigans, and that includes just a couple of lings to try and stall out the SCV. Ragnarok is doing no such thing. Follow-up marine, looks like. Yes, indeed. Which could help against any, again, like early ling pressure, but is a lot more helpful at shooing away this overlord. We're trying to. If it gets an opportunity, it'll shoot some bullets into its sacks, I guess. Although it should not be able to kill it. It's actually just going to keep it kind of defensive. So this, if you got a scout, and then if you SCV scout, I really do think that this is the best thing you can ever do. Oh, you are being cheesy. So this not only scouts the third base for you, but also, you know, stalls out the drone from building it. Because the Reaper could be doing other things. It could be scouting. It could also just be the timing, right? Some people have really extremely fast third bases, others slower, more normal. This is more on that normal time, but it is actually a little bit false, right? Like it's gonna maybe be a hatchery, but he's thinking more about the roaches, so. Stalls out the would-be third base, and this looks like Ragnarok is wanting a third base, right? So this is a lot more about the trickery than it is about what Bunny is doing in terms of delaying this. That does not matter nearly as much as the roaches. Now, I think he should... So Ragnarok wants to be able to get a third base. He does actually need to take care of these this engineering bay. But if he had the opportunity to kill the Reaper, that would have been, you know, the best thing possible. Unfortunately, he did not. His third base was, I think, ultimately delayed. I'm actually not sure which comes down first, but it might not even been delayed. He had like barely enough minerals after building all those roaches, which, by the way, are now revealed. So the Reaper gets not that early of a scout, really. You know, it was around the third base, not the natural. Would have been so much better if he had gotten into the main to see the Roach Warren. But Bunny has to go into emergency mode here. He's going to start producing... okay, just producing Hellions still. But then adding on a Marauder can be very helpful. He's going to build a bunker for it as well. These are slow roaches, and they are not going to be backed up with lings. Speed wasn't done, so it'd be very odd to see slow lings come across the map. So it's not so much the threat of those lings as it sometimes can be. It is actually the threat of how many roaches there are. One already going down. Hellions at least being just bodies for the roaches to take down, but they are one-shotting them. The Marauder is going to need that bunker to survive. Ooh, doesn't actually finish, but another SCV is on top of it, and the bunker will finish. 3 SCVs repairing will not be enough, especially if they have to move away, and it is not. The Marauder barely survives. Second Marauder is out. The point is that Bunny is holding the high ground, though, and I think this has already been a hold. Just if Ragnarok could actually be able to get into the main base and jump on top of these units, it's a different story. But this is a hold. He targets down that weak Marauder, but that's the best thing he could ever do. And unfortunately is not going to be able to grab many SCVs. How many died? 6. That was more than I thought. I thought it was going to be 4, but a pretty severe delay on your third base. Your only defense, but your defense for a while are kind of expensive, chunky roaches instead of those nice, cheap, but useful speedlings. I don't have that many queens. I don't think that was quite worth it. It didn't really interrupt Bunny's build order that much either, so 6 SCVs is okay. Imagine how many roaches were lost to get just 6 SCVs and a Marauder. It wasn't like they also got a, well, I guess body build. It wasn't like they also got stim or burnt down a barracks or Bunny got contained and isn't building his 3rd CC quite yet. Like the build actually wasn't that interrupted, so even though the supplies don't look like Bunny took advantage there, I think he actually did. The supplies look different because Ragnarok's still putting roaches, which I guess he's just gonna go for. I guess he's just gonna do roaches. Adding on a single evolution chamber for a carapace upgrade. Speed did finish, Lair's about to finish as well. Liberator is the only harassment, but it is still worth getting a couple spore crawlers. Just 2? Alright, just 2. Creep spread was a weakness in the last game, and it will be a weakness in this game too. Not a lot of extra queens that quickly because of how it opened. Surprising amount of Viking harassment being done. Lang's gonna go across the map and get sight on the I knew about third CC, but maybe the composition, because he doesn't know if it's going to be a follow-up of mech or bio. Actually, he would have known. Yeah, it could have been canceled, I suppose, but that is a nice confirmation. And also just checking, maybe those supply depots are down. Maybe there's a drop going on, and you actually get in there to kill a couple SCVs. And spread out your lings for some scouting. Nicely done. But Ragnarok is going for Roach Ravager. I mean, the first couple I was like maybe just worried about a counterattack, and then he just kept building them, and I was like, oh, alright. So this isn't going to be a 1-1 Roach push. It's going to be just that +1 carapace. This replay is from the Alima League. Last week's Alima League, I believe. You can get the replays too at patreon.com/olymoly. Bunny gonna go for the high grounds, third CC, just mine out the minerals a little bit right here, and you do have the high grounds. It's still a little weird because it's kind of like far away from your natural, but it certainly is something you can do as any race. So far, just fake medevacs? Wait. Did the army? Yeah, those are fake medevacs. Yeah, they're just scouting. Yeah, the army's at home. Okay, I thought I missed something important. I did not. Bunny has a good idea as to what is happening right here. He's still going to have the fake drop, try and distract roaches, and all this is actually doing a fantastic job. It's not getting scouting. It's also distracting so many roaches from the main push. In fact, like all the roaches, it's nothing but the Ravagers and the Lings in the front line, and they are not the... They're not the tanks. They're getting blown apart here. But on top of that, Bunny also just knew what was happening, had his tanks behind a wall, had most, if not all, literally all of his army back at home defending, and he's even going to go ahead and lift off his third CC. He doesn't really need it. He knows how committed this is, and while the supplies look extremely dangerous, it's not so much. This army will disappear, especially because it's not even the entire army of some to the north, as well as some, I think, defending against those would-be drops. And most importantly, 2 tanks getting a ton of shots there. Ravagers are going to try and Crosabile those down, finally get on top of it. I think it only gets the one, though, not both of them. That could have been a huge mistake, and then a bio on the ground with their upgrades, combat shields, marauders, medevacs, healing, just go ahead and rip through the Roach Ravager army, even targeting down some of these Ravagers as well. Crosabile is going to desperately try and buy some time, but Ragnarok's attack has simply not worked out. I mean, Bunny with an awesome little trick there with the medevacs took away like 10 roaches, which is certainly considerable, but I think it's just in general Bunny being prepared for this. The worst thing you do against Roach Ravager attacks, whether it's this one or like that 1-1 Roach timing that was very popular for a while, is to be out in the middle of nowhere, right? Like they do have to attack. I got 2 tanks, I gotta go. They're gonna demolish you and then immediately counterattack. Or, you know, trying to take your third base when there's no wall or choke to defend. That's how this attack really does the damage. Or maybe finding you mismacking, not having very fast 1-1 or something like that. But Bunny actually had everything going right for him. He had the upgrades, he had the tanks, he had the medevac count, even with 2 distracting. And he even started those Marauders as well. Didn't get tricked into just making pure Marine, thinking there could be a Ling Banling follow-up. So excellent job done there from Bunny. Ragnarok going to try and recover here. He did make more drones, getting a 4th base. He does have the high, the rich yield, whatever, the high yield gas base taken care of, which also means that, you know, as it gets mined out, he won't have to defend it as much anymore. But I guess I'll take this one maybe as his 5th. The, again, fake drops. Check out the 5th. They might think that would have been the 4th, so that's a little deceiving. There is, in fact, a 4th base. This game isn't quite over yet. Ragnarok does have the potential to continue, you know, moving on. He's going to go into Roach, or Ravager Ling Banling, even getting an upgrade for his melee. And Bunny is not, you know, he's not won the game quite yet, but he's held 2 different attacks very well. And as long as he can get a decent tank count up after losing 2 of them, then he will be able to size up and rip through the Roach Ravager Ling Banling army. It can be a very powerful composition, you know. If the Roaches die, it's not the biggest deal. The Lings die, it's not the biggest deal. The Banelings have to get good connections, and the Ravagers are supposed to live. They're just supposed to live basically forever until you're in a decent position to, like, sacrifice them. And that's a lot of extra damage, you know. It can be a very effective composition to make a comeback with, especially if you get a kind of a cocky Terran player going on a creep thinking they got this under control. But Bunny is not being overconfident here. He's actually being very, very safe, trying. He really wants that creep tumor to take away this middle path creep scrub, but he's not going to be able to get it. Ragnarok, knowing how important this section is, if this gets cleaned up, then suddenly the reinforcements come through here, and his third base actually is under attack. Although this can be a very tricky space to move into. World of Sleepers is not exactly the most. It's not the easiest map to determine how you want to attack a Zerg on. But anyways, this drop not doing so much. Scouts at the 4th base, Scouts there's a 5th base. He'll want to target that one over and over again while having a very good main push. He is also transferring over into Drilling Claws and Widow Mines. I mean, I don't think going like continuing to be on tanks would have been bad. But he has 6, then he's gonna add on Widow Mines now, and I guess, I mean, it's a good combination to have. For Marauder drop can certainly take out bases very quickly. Queens as well. Ultras are on the way. I mean, Ultras are the quickest thing to get to. Ultras Cavern, build the Ultras while you get the upgrade. Kindness planning, that is. There's more than one upgrade I have to specify. But you are building something that the Terran player has already kind of started to counter. You know, it's really awesome to be able to get to Ultras when they're still on nothing but Marine Widow Mine, and you're like, lol. But Bunny has tanks, Widow Mines, and a lot of Marauders, and is just going to be making more Marauders since he knows the late game is underway. Did that actually hit? Oh my god, that reached. Woof, the kiting off creep. Bunny making the most out of his bio. So anyways, the Ultras are not that big of a threat. They are a natural next step, but I would be far more concerned if he was able to fit in like a Greater Spire, which I feel like maybe he could have. It'd be starting like right now. The Greater Spire would be starting right now. Imagine a couple of Brood Lords mixed in with a still heavy tank composition and no anti-air. It's just a bit more dangerous. And I think everyone, you know, kind of knows the joke about Ultras throwing games for Zergs.
Hostile forces.
Sorry, YouTube video on Idra history was funny. Oh, thank you. I'm glad you enjoyed it. Oh, this is a pretty nasty spot. Okay, I dig it. I dig it. Also, a drop to the south is going to grab the 6th base. Wow, Ragnarok has a lot of minerals. So he's just expanding everywhere. That is a very important grab. If you take out this base, but they just have 2 more bases to move to, then you're still in trouble. A Viper comes through here, gets a Blinding Cloud on 2 of the tanks, but 3 still firing. Huge Concave, though, could maybe be good enough, or maybe not. Roach Ravager dying here. More reinforcements coming in. Where's the rest of Ragnarok's army? What? Was that actually it? I mean, I know he's making some, but his army supply really has not dipped that much. Why does it look so bad? Oh, another base is going to go down here as he's just rallying forward. I thought he was going to be able to take care of that, and so did he, but it was one of those really odd situations where you don't quite take care of it. There's a couple of tanks still left over. They're reinforcing as well fast enough that as you send in nothing but Ling Roaches, they're actually not big enough numbers to take care of it. Finally, it seems like he's collected enough of those units to take things out, but even Liberator's giving him a tough time. No anti-air whatsoever, no Corruptors, no Hydras, not even any Queens here on the front lines to take care of this Liberator and all of these medevacs. Oh my god, a Parasitic Bomb would have been so damn good. Widow Mines are kind of effective against Ultras in that they ignore their armor. They're at least getting some damage done, and those are Drilling Claws Widow Mines. They're not being cleaned up. Second shots are about to happen. Finally, the Liberator. No, not even. He didn't do third shot. Oh my god. Widow Mine, are you serious? That Widow Mine did more damage to the Terran. Widow Mine, please. Oh, I mean, luckily all these medevacs survived, but stupid Widow Mines. And speaking of which, I guess there was more harassment going on here. The drop was finally cleaned up, but not before it killed 2 bases. 1 mining, too, so I think drones were also lost. This Ultra skin, by the way, what the flip-floppity is this Ultra skin? I did not realize it looked so different. This is definitely the new mechanical one. Thank you very much to Ragnarok Cat for that raid. There we go. Bunny has been doing a lot of things in both these games. He has been a madman. And Ragnarok has barely been able to keep up, but I'm afraid it's too much now. He's gotten another base down. Ragnarok was hoping that if he sacrificed 1 base, then he'd just have 2 or even 3 more to transfer over to, still supplement his growing hive-based army, but no, he's back down to 4 bases. Although it is the healthy 4 bases, so that's the good news. We'll be mining them out for a little while longer, but he also got sent back down to 57 drones. And yeah, his mana natural is certainly not really mining that much anymore. So it's not great. Bunny was up to 4 bases. He's getting a 5th base, getting sensor towers. He's adding on liberators. Obviously, his marauder count has grown quite a bit. He's even adding on the Ghost Academy here. So snipes will be coming down. And Ragnarok is not in a position to really respond to that. There's no spellcasters here, and he can't really afford them. Going through this choke is just absolutely not working out for Ragnarok, because Bunny has the concave, Bunny has the splash units, and is trying to cut away now. A couple ultras will survive, just barely. The tanks in front of the rest of the army. It looks like Ragnarok can finally have a breath, but a lot of the army will escape in the medevacs, and he still has to clean up all of these widow mines, which he has not been able to do. So many things have been happening that he hasn't been able to make an overseer or notice, or I don't even know. He's trying to take back at least one of these bases, but he no longer has a 2,000 mineral bank to just plop 3 or 4 hatcheries down like 4 minutes ago. Bunny, if he doesn't take a really catastrophic fight, will eventually wear down the Zerg player. Vipers once again coming forward here, going for a parasitic bomb. Might have wanted to go on the abducts, actually. Well, actually, a parasitic bomb was pretty effective. But the Liberators also got a lot of shots. Took out a lot of the Ravagers, even as they died to the corrosive bios. Widow Mines, again, still being such a problem. So many of these Widow Mines have gotten 2, 3, 4 shots, which really should never happen. They're super cheap units. The reactored out. You want them to get good shots, and then you expect them to die right afterwards. And that has actually not been the case here. Still no Overseers being made. Ravagers being the last thing that Ragnarok really has. Vipers need their support units. They need something to support, not a couple of Ravagers and a handful of Lings and even 4 Banelings. That's it. Ugh, yeah, no thanks. That's not an army. But Bunny, surprisingly, also on a very low count. Just these units that he's microing. Oh, the Widow Mines, though. Oh, come on. Oh, those Widow Mines are absolutely brutal. They were at an even army supply before those Widow Mines went off. The Bunny is only, I think, struggling to remax instantly. Okay, he's not going to remax because he was so focused, maybe not muling, still only had so many production facilities, but he certainly had some consistent income. And it was only going to get better. It was only going to get better. Ragnarok just taps out and he realizes that his opponent has a 5th base planetary. He's like, nope, can't do anything about that. All right, then. GG's. GG's.